Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy, a platform for women across the globe to share wisdom, advice, and have some meaningful conversations about some very interesting topics. Today's guest is Lorraine Garvie, who's a mother to a gorgeous girl, the founder of D32 Business Networking, a DeMartini facilitator, and a shamanic practitioner. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's good to be on the other side.
I know, look, you do a lot of this sort of thing yourself. You're an amazing woman for those who have seen you across the channels. You do so many different things. So for those listening today, do you want to tell us a bit more about your journey in life and how you got to where you are?
Wow, that's a big loaded question. How did I get to where I am? You know, you did the same as everybody else, the hard way, you know, the suffering way. The upbringing was, you know, just poor alcoholism, Scotland. It's just survival, so you're just surviving. And then, you know, spent a lot of time trying to prove myself, trying to prove your self-worth, going for the best degrees, and ended up my IT and computer science. And it's push, just pushing. And obviously you don't realize that until much later that that's what you're doing. You tell yourself you're ambitious and you're a go-getter and, all that jazz. And so then I've always been a personal development junkie though. You know, I was age 19, I picked up Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within. Yeah. And I knew at that point, I was like, there's just something in me that said, and this is me, I had no job, no career, no degrees, no education, no car, no money. You know, I'm on the support living with my mum, but I read that book at that time and I thought, if he can do that, so can I. So there was this knowingness right at an early age that just if one human being can do it, so can we all. Mm-hmm. So that sort of started me, and I set some life goals there and then at 19. It took me 10 years to crack some of them, as you do. Yeah. I've always been a personal development junkie. So, I've done all the Tony Robbins stuff, and then that led me down the meditation path and Eckhart Tolle and the Power of Now and Buddhism and Vipassana retreats and initiation with Sadhguru. I went right down that rabbit hole in the spiritual side. But what leads you to that is suffering. Right? You suffer, and my suffering showed up in stress. So it was just brain stress, body stress. And how do you know that that's showing up? Because I wasn't happy with my body. I wasn't happy with my finances. I wasn't happy. It was just stress. And so you start digging until it's like, well, what's beneath that? What's beneath that? And then you've got all these stories in your head that it's your upbringing and it's this and it's that, and which it is. But, it took me a long time to have suffered enough. To say that at some point, the personal development only got me so far, and the knowledge only got me so far. And the knowingness of the meditation and the meditative practices only got me so far, and then you just got to start healing.
Yeah.
You have to start healing at some point.
Yeah.
And so 2 years ago, I had a bit of an experience which is really hard to explain, but it was like a spiritual download type of experience where I really had the experience of, you hear all these gurus talking about everything's happening now.
Yeah.
And I had the experience of that, which I can't share with you because it's a bit mental. But
it's very individual to you as well. It's very personal experience.
Yes. And so I had that experience of everything happening now and having a knowingness of that. And I was like, there's something else there. There's something else here in our reality that I've not been brought up with, that I'm not privy to. Even with all this no education and stuff, there's something else here that I'm not experiencing. And that led me down the Shamanic Healing path. And I went and found a company called One Tribe in Fremantle. And I booked myself on a 10-day course on Shamanic Healing. I've never heard of it before.
Oh, really?
Never heard of anything like that before. Went in there and, there's 20 people. And everybody's already talking about spirit guides and energy and shadow work and all this stuff. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? Like, I so felt like a fish out of water. But the beautiful thing about that is, you know, I'm now a shamanic practitioner in my spare time. But to be a shamanic practitioner means to be a hollow bone. And in order to be a hollow bone, it means you have to heal all your own stuff. So the whole training is like a 1.5 to 2 years of training, retreats, courses, and, you know, 50 healings, giving and receiving. It's just about being a hollow bone. And so now, where am I now? I'm in a much better place personally, who I am. I'm happy with myself. I'm letting go of all that struggle.
Yeah.
You know, it's all just, it comes off on layers and layers and layers. So I'm still running District 32.
Which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah. So that's got its own journey, and it's got its own life. Franchising nationally and internationally with District 32, which keeps me busy. But I really love it. I love the healing side of things. It's my passion. That's what I'm researching at night, and still really involved in healings, giving and receiving. But I guess brings me to where I am now. I guess to say, you know, where am I now and how did I get here? I suffered for many, many, many years by my own choice. Accidentally came upon shamanic healing, and now I just really want to share that because it works.
Yeah, because it's something that's I haven't heard a lot of it out there before. Because when I hear shamanic, I think of, you know, the American Indians and the shamans and that the whole everything that entails. But it's something that hasn't really, that I'm aware of, been sort of in today's society as accessible and sort of a modality that people can access like readily, I guess, in a way, to explain it.
I think it's becoming a little bit more mainstream, but I think since Christianity and stuff, you know, there was really institutions put between human beings and direct experience.
Yeah.
And that's what shamanism is, or even religion without the institutions. It's your own relationship with that higher power, whatever that is. And now the institutions are sort of falling away, and it's about direct revelation. And I think it's because people are becoming more and more open to that. On YouTube, it's just drowning with all this stuff now. If you start, you know,
I've just started doing a little bit of looking into it. It's so interesting because I think my understanding is a difference with the shamanic healing is it's not just one modality like Reiki is working on your energy centers. It's quite complex in that it incorporates the elements, the physical, the mental, the spiritual. It's kind of it's got everything in it. So how would you explain, how do I put this? I guess when someone who's looking at getting a healing, I mean, I've had a healing with you myself, so I know what that's like. But for someone who doesn't know much about shamanic healing, what can they expect when they come into it, and how do you incorporate all those different elements into your healings?
Okay. So obviously somebody comes for a healing because something's not working for them in their life. Yep. So what I'll ask somebody to do is come with an intention, you know, what is presenting. But really, shamanic healing and understanding is an understanding that everything is just energy. And that energy can show up in your body, your mind, your external field, your aura. And the job of a shamanic practitioner is just to read that energy and then use different modalities to shift it. Now, that energy might be inner child healing, right? A lot of it, you know, maybe 40% of shamanic work that I've seen is inner child healing.
Yeah.
It's ancestral healing, so that intergenerational trauma. But there's other ways to get rid of energy, right? So sometimes it's the traditional way we know is it's crying. You know, if you haven't cried, you haven't healed. But that's only part of it. You know, you can get rid of energy by actually grabbing it and pulling it out. You can cough. You can sweat. You can scream. But you can also have some energetic healing. So as a shamanic practitioner, I can often see energy, and every healer or practitioner sees energy differently. So I might see a shadow, I'll see a different thing that will tell me it's ancestral patterns that are there, and then I'll ask you if I see my symbol, if you like, for ancestral healing, I'll ask you about that. And it will always resonate with the client. But then we can get into a lot of shamanic practitioner healing is also about past lives. So the two biggest things are past lives and inner child healing and ancestral trauma. And that's really, it's just new. It was new for me 2 years ago. I was like, what are you talking about? You know? And I heard some of the other people in the class talking about a past life. And I actually said to the instructor, Mark, I said, how do you know that's true? And he said, because she told me. And I was like, this is just common knowledge amongst, people who are in a different energy. Because I was just like, well, how do you know it's true? How do you know she's not just lying? So I get that past life information or even the concepts can be quite challenging for someone to come along who doesn't have an understanding or a direct experience of that.
Yeah.
But what I would say is when I can see past lives quite easily. So when I tune in, I can see it and I can see the date and the energy. But then the job of the practitioner is to, okay, well, that's all very well and good. How does that link back to your experience now? And how is that affecting you now? And what you find often is the past life trauma or the emotion of the past life is exactly what you're experiencing now. And the client will feel that, right? It's not just an intellectual thing, or they told me I had, a past life. You can often feel that. You're like, but you're talking about that past life, but that's me now. Yeah. And you're like, wow, that's me now. How can you know that? Are you reading my mind? Sort of thing. So yeah, there's a lot about just energy work, shadow work, inner child healing, past lives. But really it's just about, we're all perfect as we are. We've just got energies attached to us or blocked in the body. And sometimes we can or can't see it. We've got a knowing that there's something quite not right. And I don't know where it is because I'm doing my best here.
Yeah.
But a shamanic practitioner can just reflect that back to you and say, well, this is what I can see. And if it resonates, we keep going.
Yeah, because it's not something it's not something the everyday person necessarily understands or knows about, because we don't all have that experience and understanding and knowledge like you to have through your learning. So it's someone like yourself that we go to gain that understanding and to do that healing, which is I remember during our session, you picked up on things that it blew me away, I must admit. And I remember at one part you sort of you were channeling into things and you were explaining something, and it was exactly what I was seeing in my mind, but I had told you, and it was the exact same thing. And I'm like, wow, that was just, it was incredible. And it was,
I remember that.
I do. And it's just, and I must admit, I felt so different after our session. And I won't go into it because it was quite a personal session, but things have definitely changed since then for the better. And I feel like a different, there's just a difference. It's hard to explain, but it's an incredible what can be done. So through your own experience of learning the shamanic journey and how to heal people and your own healing, what was that like for you? How did that come out for you to grow and develop to where you are?
So it's really interesting, because I would say, there was several courses along the way and several retreats along the way in my healing journey that all form part of the training.
Yeah.
And what my experience was at first was that, remember I was saying, how do you know what she's saying is true?
Yeah.
That was my distrust. I didn't trust the energy. I didn't trust that there was guides there. I didn't trust that the universe was there to support us, because I had no direct evidence of it.
Yeah.
And what the teachers would say to me, or the support there, they would just keep saying, and of the most gentle, nurturing, supportive way. I never felt like an idiot or anything. I was always held exactly where I was. And, you know, they would just let me know that my lack of trust in the guides or support is my lack of trust in the universe itself. So what I had to do was, my personal journey was to go through layers and layers and layers of healing, past life energies, of control energies. I had all these energies around me that I needed to be responsible for everyone and everything, and it was my job or it was death. Loads of that to go through, and then there was, I've had so many healings, and so I've got 2 journals filled with aha moments. It's phenomenal. I want to put that into a book. That's what I'd like to do in 2025.
Wow.
But the most recent one was, we went on an ancestral healing retreat, and we were away for 4 days and 3 nights. And that's where every unanswered question I had about myself was answered. So why does this show up? Why does that show up? Why do I feel this responsibility? What is this headache about? And all of the things that I'd ever had any questions were answered. And one day, I think I cried solid for about 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Just emotional release on ancestral stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been layers and layers and layers. But so the transformation in me is, at the beginning, I didn't trust. And now I do. And how that shows up in life is, I'm not looking at my email list as if somebody's going to die that I don't answer them.
Yeah.
And I am not worried. I'm just not worried about money or resources, or I just know that I'll be looked after.
Yeah.
So I've now got an absolute unwavering trust in the universe itself and supporting me. And that's a very different vibration. And some of the things that are showing up in my world now, I swear I'm just writing them down. It's like, you could not write this stuff, what is showing up in my life.
Yeah.
For the simple, I just wrote a chapter in the book as well. It's all about, I had a bit of a shamanic vision when I was away on this ancestral retreat, and I saw this abundance coming down. And I was like, well, what's the message if it's there? And the message for me was, get out the way. And it was like, it's coming down the hill, but get out the way.
Yeah.
And right, okay, I'll get out the way. And I was particularly challenged at the time in one area, and I was like, right, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm not going to put all these measures in place because I'm freaking out like I would usually do. I'm just going to let it go and trust that it's coming. And all the stuff is just showing up, and these opportunities and the people. Like, when now I've got a really much deeper understanding of, like, in an experiential way, of the only thing standing between me and exactly what I want is my thought structure around it. That thought structure is an energetical barrier to what you want. So every time you say, I can't get this, or how's that going to work, or that's not working, or I'm scared, or I'm stressed, it's actually pushing what you want away. So I've now got an experiential understanding of that, whereas before it was just an intellectual understanding. So, and people are saying to me now in the network, like, you're different. Which is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
It's a little embarrassing on what was I like before. But, you know, it was just, but they're just saying, you know, you're different. Look how calm you are. What's happening around you? What's changed? And so, yeah, I'm just, you know, nothing massive changed on the external, but on the internal, I'm just really comfortable with who I am, and not worrying about anything.
But it's a really hard place to get to for most people, because we are our own worst enemy most of the time.
Right.
And so it's normal, I guess, for most people to worry about the what ifs and everything, because that's how we were raised, many of us. So to be able to just release that and trust is harder than it might seem. But once you do, it's beautiful, and it just flows, and it's a wonderful place to be.
That's that part of surrender. There's a great book written, The Surrender Experiment. And I forget his name. He also wrote The Untethered Soul. And his whole book was about, you know, just getting out the way and just whatever presents in your life, say yes to, because life just happens on its own. Body sleeps, body wakes up, body sleeps, body wakes up. But all the stuff that happens in the middle just happens. It just happens. It just it just appears. It just happens. So if we just respond to what shows up rather than trying to make things happen and worry what's wrong with us, it's a completely different life experience.
Yeah.
But again, I can say that now. I had to go through a lot of healing to be able to accept that vibration, because I wasn't worthy before. I wasn't worthy, and I wasn't good enough, and I wasn't doing well enough, and I wasn't this enough, and there was lack here, there, and everywhere. And I had to remove that energy from my body and my energy field to be able to surrender to what shows up and be cool with it and with interest. Oh, that's interesting. It was just interesting. It's a different experience, but it's been a phenomenal journey. Shamanic healing, and I think it's wonderful that we've got people like yourself who are happy to have the conversations.
Look, I think it's important. And it's important to get it out there, and it's just, I mean, I find it fascinating, and I've experienced it myself, and I know it's hard to explain. So it's definitely something I think you have to try and experience yourself. So is there any healings or sessions that you've done that's really blowing you away? Just, whoa, that's come up?
Yeah, there is. It's but there's been many. The ones that sometimes really give me, when I'm doubting myself sometimes, because obviously you're seeing the invisible, or you're seeing, you're a seer. And sometimes, I'll get confirmation right away. I'll say, this is what I'm seeing, and I've got no idea what it means. And the client will say, oh my God, that is the most ridiculous, bizarre thing. How could you ever know that? And that's just, I get that when I'm maybe doubting myself, and it comes back to show me, don't doubt yourself. So I get that sometimes I'm the same as everybody else, but some healings that I've done, somebody will come and present with physical things, or there'll be all these different unrelated things happening in their life. I just don't want to share any individual stories or anything.
Yeah, of course.
But then I'll share a past life that I will just get in an instant. I'll say, this is what's happened, and this is why, and this was when. And the client, we've seen clients just cry, and oh my God, that answers everything. It answers the relationship, the family, the health. It just fits. And when I see people having the aha moments are okay, but I'm always in for the tears. I'm going for the tears. I want the tears, because the tears are and it's either tears of sadness or recognition or gratitude. But the tears for me are that aha moment when something has really landed. And when I see something that's really landed for people, that's just, when they tell me how it fits, when I've got absolutely no idea how that could possibly fit. And then, you get the reviews afterwards to say, oh my God, all these shifts in my life have been phenomenal. It's really hard. I've got so many stories I want to tell you, but they're just so close personal journey that I don't want to keep online. But it's just phenomenal work. But the beautiful thing is you keep getting that positive feedback of things that couldn't possibly work any other way. I mean, you just keep getting evidence. Because other people sometimes think you're cuckoo, right? But when you come along and you get affirmation of something that nobody could possibly know, and we can see how the energy's shown up and how that's affecting you in your life without even having a conversation.
It's amazing.
It makes it real for people. And like for all the woo woo and the I'm as woo woo as they get, but at the end of the day, it's proper healing. It's healing, and people will be drawn. Like, I'm not a healer, I'm a facilitator of healing. You are going to heal yourself, and you're going to be attracted to whatever is going to work for you, whether that is psychology or Reiki or shamanic healing or sound therapy. If you think that's going to work for you, then it will. and you get be attracted to that. When we're healing ourselves. There's just a facility, and you need to be ready, and you got to show up for yourself. And I just love watching healings. I just think it's the most beautiful thing in the world, for myself and for others. No matter how traumatic it is, when people have that breakthrough, when they have that tear, or those drenching in tears of gratitude and recognition and healing, I just think it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So look, for people out there who are listening to the podcast, you are the founder of D32, and you're doing amazing things nationally and internationally with that. But on another I guess direction, you've started a new, I guess, side business. I'm not quite sure what you call the Way Shower. So do you want to explain to people a bit more about that and how we can find more about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Google My Business listing on there and a YouTube channel, but it's only got one video on there at the minute. What that is just my passion. Right? I'm not set. Yeah, there's a Google My Business there, and there's how you can contact me, but I'm not. District 32 is my business, and it's got it needs still a lot of love and nurturing in there. So Wayshore is my passion. So it's like a passion project. Yeah. Like, would I do that for nothing? Yes. It's one of those ones, would you do this just for love? Yes, I would. Yeah. So it's just my passion. It's a hobby. It's what I like to read about in the weekends and, do some healings in the evenings. But like, I'm open to, if anybody, this resonates with anybody, then I'd love to, have a conversation about what healing might look like. People.
So how can people contact you to have the conversation? What's the best way to get in touch?
So around the healing stuff, it's Lorraine at wayshower.com.au, which is spelt like way shower. So WAY shower. And that just means, the meaning of that is just lighting the way for people to sing their own soul.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's Lorraine at wayshower.com.au. And that's how they can contact me on there.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for today's conversation. I think it's such an interesting topic, and from my own experience, I know how powerful it can be. So for the listeners out there, I definitely suggest contacting Lorraine, just having some conversations and seeing how she can help you, I guess, in that realm. And thank you once again for coming on the show today. It's been a beautiful, beautiful chat.
Marika, thank you so much. As I say, it's such a privilege to be on the other side. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed just chatting away. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you just for the work that you're doing and sharing what's available for people. We're over the struggling.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I just think it's such an important thing, especially in this day and age. So, yeah. We're all there for each other and to support each other in different ways. Right. So,
or just walking each other home. Same granddad. Yeah, love that line. But thanks, Marika. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And for all the listeners out there, make sure you tune in for upcoming episodes. I've been doing that in all my sessions lately. Upcoming episodes. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll have some more episodes up soon. Bye.
Thanks, Marika. Bye.